Greetings from hitbullseye.com. My name is Hirdesh Madan and I'll be discussing today with you the CAT analysis. I've been talking to so many students across India since last 1 or 2 days and the reactions have been mixed. Some people said it's difficult, some people said we were able to, crack it. Anyway, I will discuss first the overview of the exam. The exam consisted of 3 sections. The first section was the verbal ability, where we had 34 questions, out of which 10 questions were the non-MCQ, which is typically, I'll say, where you have to type in the answer. The second section, DI section, DI and LR, where you had 8 questions of subjective and rest of the questions were typical MCQ. And third section was mathematics, where we had 34 questions, out of which whopping 14 questions non-MCQ type. Now this was the key. If you had to ask me what were the key highlights of this exam, that the paper was actually in line with the sample paper. Second thing, the introduction of subjective questions. See, this happened in GRE quite early, and in our test industry we were expecting this to be a part of CAT, and this year that happened. But let me tell you, a lot of people have underestimated the introduction of subjective questions, and I can tell you with my experience at looking at the last 2-3 papers we had, and we had analyzed even the toppers accuracy. These subjective questions are going to bring down your accuracy level to anything. Remember that. And in the math section we had 14 questions of such. Slightly difficult than the CAT 2014. If you had taken 2014, so it was, you must be finding slightly difficult. DI was also difficult, and math was also slightly difficult. Verbal, I'll say it was almost at the same level, but at the same time DI was tough, and that is the fourth highlight. The DI and R section was really tough. Now let us try to understand. See, this paper was conducted in 2 time zones or 2 time slots, the morning and evening slot. The one interesting point was that by design both the slots were almost same. For example, I say in time, speed and distance, we had the question of circular tracks in first slot as well as one question in the second slot. That speaks that they want to reduce the pain of normalization. So they by design they have tried to have the almost similar paper, but you know that we are human beings, we cannot have the same robotic kind of a second paper. But yes, if I had to say the difference between the first and the second slot, well, I'll say second slot math as well as DI section was slightly tough. So the effect of the normalization is going to be maybe 10% here or there, looking at whether you in the first slot or second slot from your actual score. And a score of 150 plus in this paper, you will get multiple IM calls. Well, if you go to the second slot, slight variation. So I'll say verbal almost the same, DI and LR. And if you see quantitative ability, they were almost 2 to 3 questions attempt was less. Why I'm saying this? Because I have talked to so many students and everybody reported less attempt in both the sections in the second slot. Looking at those figures, I can say that a 140 plus score will produce multiple IMCOM. So this performance I'm talking about is 99.5 percentile plus performance. So now what I will do, I will call subject experts to discuss with you for the individual section in-depth analysis.
Hi students, I am Rajiv and let us analyze CAT verbal section 2015. First of all, let's have the overview of this section. We shall be talking about slot 1 and slot 2 simultaneously. In both the slots, there were 24 questions based on reading comprehension and there were 10 questions based on non-RC or verbal ability section. Reading comprehension questions were multiple choice and verbal ability section was non-MCQ or non-multiple choice questions based. Let's have the overview of reading comprehensions. This year, in both the slots, verbal section, reading comprehension section had 5 passages, 2 passages, 3 questions each, and 3 passages, 6 questions each. All in all 24 questions. The subjects upon which the RCs were framed were easy to understand. The context was very easy to understand, and level of difficulty wise, most of the passages were easy to moderate except one in morning slot, one in afternoon slot. Let's look at the subjects or the area or the articles from where these RCs were taken. You will find, likewise you can see on your screen, that subjects either were based on sociology, history, banking or economy. Likewise in slot 2 also, more or less the distribution was same. One was importance of dressing, second on water crisis, third on Inca Road, fourth Congo passage, etc. So you will find that passages were primarily based on sociology, science and technology, history, banking and economy. There were no abstract areas like philosophy, psychology, etc. Now looking at the strategy as far as reading comprehension section is concerned, few passages were lengthy and few were short. All in all, we have to manage our time very efficiently in order to complete the paper or to score well. Let's say I'm assuming that your reading speed is absolutely marvelous or fine, then also it's not possible to attempt more than 70 to 80% of reading comprehension section. Or we can go up to 4 passages, in case if you are an exceptionally good reader, then probably can think of attempting 5th passage, but this is practically not possible. Now let's look at the verbal ability part of verbal this year, CAT 2015. Now there were 10 non-multiple choice questions, 3 based on summary, 3 based on Misfit and 4 based on parajumbles. Now if you look at the level of difficulty of non-MCQ questions, they were comparatively tougher than reading comprehension questions. Summary based easy questions, so could have got all correct. Misfit moderate in terms of difficulty, and parajumbles were really tricky, and until unless you are 110% sure about your order, there is no point to attempt these questions. A strategy for verbal ability, as we have to find out answer ourselves and write down the answer, type our answer. So it's very important to be firm on whatever we find. We have to be extra accurate, extra careful, alert about the accuracy as far as this particular section is concerned. The only surprise this year was that there were no grammar or vocabulary based questions. Now if you look at the overall strategy, CAT has become primarily understanding driven and reading driven rather than tricks or smartness driven. So we have to increase our understanding. For this we have to read a lot. In this year, if you look at the score one would get, anybody getting 28 plus correct would touch 99.995 percentile. Anybody who is getting more than 20 correct would be able to clear the cutoff. Now as far as number of questions versus time correlation is concerned, then we have to attempt 34 questions in just 60 minutes. So time management is very important, and we have to be extra careful about non-MCQ questions.
Hello friends, I am Harinder, having an experience of more than 20 years for training the students for CAT and other competitive examinations. Let's discuss the CAT 2015 paper with the specific reference here on data interpretation and logical reasoning section. Students, I'll discuss these two in terms of slots. As you will be knowing, in terms of slot 1, if I talk, there were 4 sets in data interpretation. One set was on line chart with 4 quarter sales given. It was easy, but slightly it was calculative. And then as reported by the students, it was a set on plants industries. It was a set on efficiency and work. And then there was a question based on set theory. Now, as disclosed by the students, the set theory question there was in which there were 4 different days, and you have to make a Venn diagram of 3 such newspapers for each of those days. So this was a tough set, you can call it. Now students, moving on to the LR part. In this, there were 4 sets again consisting of 16 questions. There was an arrangement based set based on Sudoku. There was a cube based set. It was slightly difficult, where the cube was given with different colors, then it was laid down on the ground, and then the typical questions, how many were having 3 faces, 2 faces painted kind of a question. Now, as suggested by the students, it was a tough set as such. Then there were 2 more sets. Now, students, based on this, if I try to analyze as discussed with our team, the percentile for the slot 1 that we expected to be, that there were a top league of students, you call the students with 99.5 percentile, they ideally attempted 20 plus questions with 85 plus kind of accuracy. Moving on, the students who attempted 16 plus questions with average accuracy of 65 to 70%, they are expected to clear the cutoff for IIMs and other premier institutions. But the students with 13 to 15 attempts and having exceptional accuracy could create a borderline case. That is, they may be able to clear the cutoff or they may not be. It is the typical borderline case. Now, as far as the slot 2 is concerned, students, again there were 4 sets of 4 questions each in case of data interpretation. There was a line chart. There was a table based on cartridge filling, that you can get a cartridge filled by maybe the company, or you can get it through a private people who fill that. Now, this was a moderate kind of set, students. Then there was a table based on assets and research and development expenditure, and then there was a drug set which students reported to be quite difficult. Moving on to the LR portion, there was exam scores of 5 different scores it was given. This was an easy set as such, and there was a project management team set. This you can call it as moderate. Now, there was a scheduling set based on professors and courses. Now, there were around 6 or 7 courses given. You can have those 6-7 courses, and then there were a combination of those 6-7 courses which is further given in terms of maybe 14 or 15 multiple courses. Now, then there were 4 rooms and slots as proposed by the students. Now, if you talk about the cutoff for the second slot as the students, if you have attempted questions 18 plus with 85 plus kind of accuracy, that you'll able to generate 99.5 kind of percentile. With 15 plus attempted questions with average accuracy of 65 to 70%, you'll be able to clear the cutoff of all the premier institutions along with IIMs. And with 12 to 14 questions attempted, students with exceptional accuracy, you may create a borderline case. You may be able to get a call from IIMs, or you may not be able to get it. Right? Now, as reported, the slot 2 was slightly difficult as compared to slot 1 in terms of data interpretation and logical reasoning section. Right, students? So with this, you can just design for yourself what is going to be your rough percentile. Thank you so much.
Hi students, I am KJS Khurana. I am teaching quant to CAT students for last 18 years. In this video, we analyze CAT 2015 paper for both slots 1 and slot 2 for quant section. Let us discuss slot 1. In slot 1, there were questions on algebra, arithmetic, higher maths, trigonometry, geometry and mensuration. You can say almost all the topics of mathematics were covered in this section. The questions were easy to moderate in level. In arithmetic questions, there were questions on profit loss, percentage, average, time speed distance and alligation mixture. A few questions of ratios were also there. The question on arithmetic was simple, like question of ratio was very simple. You had to find the basic ratio. Question on profit and loss, in which 2 sections are given, the remaining profit and loss was to be found. In higher math, question of permutation combination was there, question of logarithm was there. They were moderate in nature. Trigonometry, height and distance question was very simple. Geometry, out of 5 questions, 3 were very easy and 2 were moderate. So one had to have the basic knowledge of geometry in order to solve this question. So overall feel of the section was comparatively easier in the morning slot. So regarding cutoffs, a student who are regularly getting 99 plus 5 percentile have in mock test have attempted more than 28 questions. 25 plus attempt are in safe region, and students who have attempted around 20 questions should have very high accuracy, and still they can be in the borderline range. So they are expected to get a call, but not sure. In order to get a call, they should have a very high accuracy. So now we'll discuss for slot 2. In slot 2, almost topic were similar, but bit difficult in nature. Basic algebra question are difficult, algebra, arithmetic, higher maths, trigonometry and geometry and mensuration were there. Again, question of height and distance was very simple in geometry. In arithmetic, question of profit and loss was there. Question of percentage was there. Question of average was there, in which there were 3 questions given and one had to solve the question. Question of allegation had to be solved with the help of options. Otherwise, it was a very difficult question. Option it was easier. In higher maths, question of logarithm was there, which was of moderate difficulty level. In higher maths, one more question was there, that was of set theory, in which intersection of 3 had to be found, and that was a non-MCQ question and required bit calculation. So overall feel of the section was easy to moderate, but slightly tougher than slot 1. So regarding cutoffs, with 25 plus attempt, with high accuracy, students are of 99.5 percentile type, 23 plus are in the safe range, and probably they will get a call, and 18 plus attempt or around 18 attempt are on the again borderline. In order to get a call, they should have very high accuracy, and you can say exceptional accuracy. Still they will be on borderline. So they can get a call, but they may not get a call. Student, one last thing that is to be mentioned, that design of the section was almost similar in both the slots in order to minimize the normalization. You can say from the example, TSD question was of circular races, that was in the morning slot, that was same in the evening slot. The logarithm question was almost similar. The question on set was almost similar. You can say almost all type of question were similar in nature, but the student found evening session a bit difficult. So this was about slot 1 and slot 2 analysis of quant section. Student, all the best. Thank you.
So you have gone through the expert analysis for all the 3 different sections. Now what I want to discuss with you is the at what attempt, what percentile, which colleges, because that is what is the key now, because CAT has gone. So now what we have to see is how you are going to utilize this score, expected percentile or expected score, into calls. Apart from IIMs, where you have applied, you have to apply to so many other colleges, and here I want to show you the quick. So we have made 2 tables. If you have gone through our analysis page at Hit Bullseye, well, in the morning slot we have put them into various range, but people are asking for cutoffs. So I'll say this is going to, it means if your attempt was 19 to 24 in verbal, or maybe it was 11 to 15 in DI or LR, and 18 to 25 in math section, you will be able to easily clear the cutoffs. But in the evening slot, it was slightly less. So I'll say verbal figures are same in the first as well as second slot. So I'll say 19 to 24. DI and LR 10 to 14, so slightly less than the first slot, and QA 16 to 22 overall. This will clear the cutoff for your IIMs. Now the $1,000,000 questions. Which colleges can I expect a call? If you see this table, so at 99.5 percentile plus, you will get 3 to 6 calls. I'm not saying you will not get all 7 calls. These IIMs are going to consider your 10th plus 2 graduation marks, whether you have some work X or not, and this coupled the performance of academics coupled with work X, which is the duration of the months you have work X, will be added to the CAT score to produce calls. But yes, if everything is good, you can expect a call. 99, you will easily get call from 1 to 2 old IIMs and all new IIMs. The 6 plus 6, so 12 new IIMs, and a call from an IIT Bombay. So at 98, you can expect a call from IIT Delhi, MDI, and again the new IIMs. These are the colleges you must apply right now, but at the same time focus on your preparation for other tests, because you don't have time to sit and maybe feel happy or bad about how the CAT have been, but time to move on. And till that, I know you have to be on your toes when I'm talking about the written test performance. I know you cannot sit on your laurels till April, because that is the time your group discussion and interviews will be conducted, and we will be coming with the analysis of SNAP, ZAT and all other exams, at hitbullseye.com. So wishing you all the best for other exams.